Right now we are in chapter number 3. It talks about an introduction to Cisco DNA Center, what is also called Catalyst Center. DNA Center is the old name, and right now we normally say Catalyst Center. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 subtopics. The first is network planning and deployment trends, history of automation tools, Cisco DNA Center overview, design and visualization of the network, network discovery and inventory, device configuration and provisioning. First, network planning and deployment trends. It talks about what normally the network administration do to prepare a network for a new deployment. There is some things that need to be done. For example, the IP addressing plan. Normally, this process is done manually, and it's common to use spreadsheets to define the range and the subnets that should be used inside our network. So this is one of the benefits of the software defined access, specifically the Catalyst Center, because it permits to have all this information from one single point and be available without using spreadsheets. We can have the information that we need from this single pane of glass. The second subtopic is history of automation tools. And this is a very interesting subtopic because it talks about the automation. What is the manual way? The manual way is when you need to prepare a new switch, you take the switch, you connect the console cable, and you start configuring each command at a time. That means conft, then interface 1/0/1, then you need to configure this interface. And if you have a bunch of switches, this process will take a long of time. So during the years, we start finding more proper ways to do this configuration, and you reduce the number of the repetitive tasks. One of the way was to have notepad or an Excel file or another document with some of the commands that we use in all devices, like the NDP, like the Takak server, and these and other ones. So we can just copy from this notepad and then pass to the switch. It helps to reduce the time. Then it comes involved. We started involved, and we start seeing more things like Ansible, Puppet, Chef, Salt Stack. There is many tools coming, and one of them is the DNA Center that permits us to automate many of the configuration that should be the same in all the switches. It doesn't need anymore to do it in a block test because the Catalyst Center will know what is the standard configuration that everyone should have. Cisco DNA Center overview. This is an overview of DNA Center. This is the Cisco solution to automate the campus network. There is many fields and many things that it permits us to do. The DNA Center or the Catalyst Center permits us to have the software defined access, defining the fabric of our network. It permits us to provision efficiently. It permits us to have an assurance. It means to have an overview of what's going on in our network, what are the problems, and also it can give us information of how to resolve and troubleshoot the problems. And we can have also from the Catalyst Center or the DNA Center the software image management. So every device can download the most recent software image directly from the catalyst center. So these are some of the capability that it shows to us. Then design and visualization of the network. Normally this part is inside the design because we can have multiple tabs in our catalyst center, and inside of the design we can organize our network. Normally this is a um, hierarchical view, and it is done by three main elements, that is the areas, the building, and the floors. The areas is the more generical view. For example, if you have an international company, the areas would be the continents. For example, America, Asia, Africa, Europe. This will be an area. Inside this area, you can have another areas. For example, inside Europe, we can have Germany, we can have France. Inside Africa, we can have Angola, South Africa, and many areas. Though then we will go down, down level. For example, inside a country like Portugal, we can have another area like Lisbon, and in Lisbon you can have two buildings in different places. So the buildings is the second level. And what is the difference between the areas and the buildings? In the buildings, normally it is in a physical location. The catalyst centers allows us to put the exact place where the buildings resides. It means the longitude and the altitude. So inside the map, inside the globe, we can see exactly where our building is, because we put this information. And inside the building you can have floors. Building, you can have floors: first floor, second floor, third floor, and so on. And here in the floors, the catalyst center is also good because it allows us to put like a map of the building. So you can have maps here. So inside the map, for example, it allows us to put access points and see what is the coverage. So this is some of the capabilities of the design and visualization of our network inside the DNS center. For the network discovery and inventory, it's very good because we can discover what are the devices that makes part of our network, of our infra. And this is possible to do that. The discovery, we can do that in several ways. One of them is to define a range of IP addresses, and if you look inside this range, what are the devices responding. We can do this via CDP, what is the discovering of the neighbors. This is a Cisco proprietary protocol. And we can do also via LLDP, that is an open protocol to discover the neighbors. What is more common is to use the IP address, and it will find all the devices inside this range. So it means that the device that we are trying to discover already needs to have an IP address already configured. So it will be discovered, and we can add it in our Catalyst Center. And normally when we add the devices in Catalyst Center, it should be in the inventory. It will be there. We can see them. What about new devices? For the new devices, normally the Catalyst Center uses the protocol named plug and play. It means a blank new device we put on the network, and the Catalyst Center should be able to discover the device and put the specific parameters that it should have. So it's very good, and it can be done normally via LAN automation. It's important to say that there is another part, that is the device configuration. The device configuration is done via Catalyst Center. We can have templates. Um, I don't know if you remember, we have the designs. One of the benefits of the designs is that we can have network settings that should be common for everyone, network settings, and we can also have profiles. We can use profiles, for example, for the wireless part. Inside a building, every device should have the same SSID, for example. So we define this configuration inside the profiles. And this is what normally we talk in this chapter. In the provisioning, it is done on Catalyst Center. There is several steps. Normally we define which site it should reside. This is the schema. Can put it inside an area, a building or a floor. Then we can insert the templates in the variables. For example, the host name is not the same for everyone. So when we try to provision with the final site, then we can put the variable like the host name. Then we will reveal all the configuration that is going to be pushed to the device. And if we are good with the configuration that will be applied, we can confirm and apply it immediately, or we can schedule to be pushed in a later time. So if you want, you can also do this implementation during a maintenance window. So this is the potential of the Catalyst Center or DNA Center. This is some introduction, and it will be further explored during the next chapters of this series. Thank you.